my name is Somil Bajpai, and I'll be talking to you about the coronavirus today. There is complete lockdown in India, and there is curfew in my city, Indore, as well. The situation seems to be very similar to when I was born. There was an emergency implemented a week before I was born in India, and so I was a little baby then, so I didn't know what all emergency would mean. But as of now, there is complete lockdown and curfew all over. But yes, this gives me an opportunity to brush up my fundamentals. I'm actually a MBA or a master's degree in management and a computer science graduate. I studied physics, mathematics, and computer science in my graduation. And there is a little bit of light that I want to spread on the coronavirus thing at this point of time, which is a worldwide pandemic or a worldwide epidemic, as we should rightly call it. There is something which is causing all this. I'm sure you know the word corona. Corona, what does it mean? Corona is actually the outermost layer of the sun. The sun basically has the core, the photosphere, the chromosphere, and the corona, which is the surface of the sun. And there are all lots of reactions going on. There is this hydrogen fusion which goes on at the core of the sun, and this fusion generates a lot of heat and helium gas. So all these planets and our solar system that is around it is basically the gravitational pull and the magnetic lines of forces that is determined to a large extent from the sun, which is the at the epicenter of our solar system. So there is some and this gravitational pull creates a lot of things. I'm sure you remember that on the 15th of February 2013, there were a lot of asteroids falling on Earth, on actually Russia on Earth. And that was because the Earth's gravitational pull was actually attracting all these asteroids towards that part of our world, which is Russia at that point of time. And in a lot of cities in Russia, there were these asteroids falling. But I think by and large, if you see the if you see that why what is it these solar flares and things like that, or the magnetic lines of force have to do with coronavirus. I'd like to shed some light rather on the fact that in 1720 there was this epidemic, which was known as the plague at that point of time. And then in 1820 we had some more diseases, which was cholera. Exactly, yeah. I was forgetting that point. And then the Spanish flu in 1920, right? And 2020 we have this coronavirus thing happening. So I think in every 100 years this is happening. That is because all the planetary positions and the sun per se are in a specific position aligned, which creates certain temperatures, planetary positions, gravitational pull, magnetic lines of force, uh, and these pathogens or the viruses, they take birth on our planet, and then they spread from people to people. So I think if you were to think for a moment that is there any science to it. I didn't believe in astrology. When I was in school, when I was in college, I started believing a little bit. But I think by and large, this astrology is making a lot of sense to me now. What all these planets, where they are positioned, and whenever Earth rotates around the sun about 100 times, why is it that what position, planetary positions, do these stars and everything come into that these pathogens take place. And obviously there is global warming which keeps on happening. There are volcanoes erupting on our planet when the heat absorbed by the planet is very high. The sun emits these radiations in the forms of waves. Obviously, I mean, these radiations are waves. At times you would see outside in the sun that the amount of light which is there out in the day is a very high intensity. I mean, you would not feel very warm or hot, but you would certainly feel that the light has a lot of, there is a lot of light, or the intensity of light is very high. And on some other occasions, you would find that, it's evening and things like that, but still it's very hot. That's because the amount of heat transmitted through these waves is very high, but the intensity of light is very low. So it all depends on the wavelength, the frequency, and the amplitude of the waves. So I would call it that astrology and the connectivity between, these planets, our sun, which is the part of solar system, causes these pathogens and things like that every 100 years, or there may be other sorts of diseases in between also, to actually happen. Uh, I think, as of now, I have one more video following this one, which is about, can you see the past? I'd appreciate if you see that one as well. Bye bye. Signing off. Somil Bajpai.